Chapter 1541. Just as the chicken stew had been finished, even before the meal had started, Benjamin's phone began to ring. Upon seeing that the call was from Jack, Benjamin narrowed his eyes and stepped outside the dining room to take the call. "You all continue eating while I take this call." Everyone glanced at him, only shifting their gaze away once he had moved away a bit. Then, they returned to their meals with full concentration. "Speak." Benjamin stood in front of the floor-to-ceiling window, gazing at the vibrant flowers blooming in the courtyard. Some of them were planted by Orissa, and they had all grown quite lush. "Mr. Graham, we've discovered that there was a tunnel in the room. The person Mr. Watts saw disappeared right into that tunnel." Benjamin's brows furrowed tightly, his eyes radiating a cold aura as he asked, "Where does the tunnel lead?" "We've been searching for over an hour and still haven't found the exit. I called to report as soon as I found a spot with a signal." Jack and Kingsley exchanged glances. They too wanted to report back after finding the exit, but given the many uncertainties, they decided it was better to report to Benjamin. Kingsley snatched Jack's phone and told Benjamin, "Benjamin, I suspect someone is deliberately provoking us here." Benjamin remained calm and serious as he asked, "Has the base suffered any losses?" Kingsley was briefly taken aback. "It seems the base didn't suffer any damages. I was just a little startled. First, find out exactly what's going on." Benjamin still had doubts in his heart. The fact that the other party had gone to great lengths to dig a tunnel but did not steal anything from the base was indeed strange. "All right, I'll continue the investigation with Jack, and I'll update you once we have a clearer picture." Kingsley, too, felt a deep sense of mystery after the mention. What was that person trying to do? "Benjamin, could it be that the person was captivated by my good looks and was so enchanted that they dug a tunnel just to sneak a peek at me?" The look on Benjamin's face darkened visibly, his mood sinking noticeably, and a chilly aura lingered around him. Jack was left speechless, rolling his eyes. Couldn't he make a more realistic joke? Like someone was here to harm us. Tired of listening to Kingsley's nonsense, Benjamin advised them before hanging up the phone, "Be careful." Benjamin stood there for a while, lost in deep thought, until Zachary called him over for dinner. Only then did he snap back to reality. "Mr. Graham, Mommy is calling you to come eat dinner." Zachary tugged at Benjamin's trousers, tilting his head back to look up at him. Daddy's brows are tightly furrowed. Could it be that he has encountered a problem? "All right." Benjamin lowered his gaze to look at Zachary, took his small hand, and led him back to the dining room. "Let's go back and eat." Zachary glanced at his small hand, held tightly by Benjamin. He could feel the warmth of his palm and his powerful strength, causing his heart to suddenly beat a little faster. "It actually feels quite comfortable." Orissa saw the father and son returning hand in hand, a smile curving at the corners of her mouth. "Come and eat quickly. The food is getting cold," she called out, then gave her son a look, signaling him to sit down and eat his meal. Zachary flashed a smile, then returned to his seat and began to eat his meal earnestly. As Gavin glanced at Benjamin and noticed the furrowed brows of his father, he became certain that something must have happened. "Eat up," Orissa told Benjamin, picking up her fork to serve him some food. "Okay," Benjamin replied and focused on eating his meal. Seeing his son seemingly troubled, Darius couldn't help but ask with concern, "Who was that on the phone just now? Has something happened at the company?" Jack wouldn't have called about company matters. "Let's eat first," Benjamin replied. Darius stared at him for a while. Realizing that he had sent Jack to Kingsley's side, he then inquired, "Is it serious?" "Not at all." Benjamin passed the spoon to Orissa, serving her some more oyster omelets. Orissa didn't think it was as simple as Benjamin had described. She was certain he had encountered some trouble. She planned to ask him about it in detail after they finished their meal. Chapter 1542. After dinner, Benjamin led Orissa back to the bedroom. "You take a nap. I'll be busy in the study." "Hey, wait a moment." Orissa stopped him, sitting on the edge of the bed and gesturing for him to sit down. Benjamin took a seat and gently asked, "Do you have something to talk to me about?" Glancing at him, Orissa recalled the phone call during their meal. "It's you who has something to tell me. What did Jack tell you?" You seemed quite serious. Have you run into any trouble? It's not really a problem at the moment, Benjamin said, holding her close and playing with her fingers as he explained the situation at the base. Didn't Kingsley say he saw a ghost last night? I sent Jack over. He looked at her, bringing up last night's incident again, and continued after seeing Marissa nod in agreement. After Jack left, he began his investigation. He found out that it wasn't some non-existent ghostly gimmick, but someone deliberately trying to scare Kingsley. Just now, Jack was following up on his investigation and reported to me. They discovered a tunnel inside the room. A tunnel, Marissa exclaimed in astonishment, thinking about how eerie it was to wake up in the middle of the night to find someone suddenly in her room. If it had been an enemy, wouldn't they have killed him without giving him a chance to fight back? Have they found out who it was? Her expression also turned serious. They haven't reached the exit yet. Even after walking for over an hour inside the tunnel, Benjamin clicked his tongue. This person has been planning this for a long time. They were still in the dark about the other party's intentions, finding themselves in a rather passive position. Whether friend or foe, it was uncertain. If it was an enemy, why would they only intimidate Kingsley in the dead of night instead of taking action? Wouldn't this just expose their trail? If it was a friend, it would be rather perplexing that they had dug a tunnel in their own base, leaving everyone baffled. What does this person want to do? Do you have any suspects? Marissa was puzzled and confused. Was that person merely trying to intimidate Kingsley? This is all the information we have at the moment. The footage from the surveillance cameras has already been erased by the person, so we don't have anything. This was all the information Benjamin had. There was nothing more. Marissa's brows furrowed tightly. This was definitely the work of a professional. There were only a handful of people in the world who could erase such data and make it difficult for others to track them down. Can you connect over there? I'll help you take a look. Having been cooped up at home for quite some time, she was itching to use her skills. Meeting her excited gaze and seeing that she was eager to give it a try, Benjamin responded in a less straightforward manner. We could connect to the other side, but I don't want you to worry about this. They will conduct a thorough investigation. Marissa pouted as she provoked him. Don't you want to catch the culprit sooner? Moreover, this person was undoubtedly a professional. If they wanted to target you, you would be caught off guard, suffering significant losses. As the technical director of the company, I have the authority to investigate this matter. You wouldn't find any clues even if you tried. Benjamin replied, only to have Marissa roll her eyes at him. Benjamin, are you questioning my skills? Benjamin tenderly kissed her forehead, quickly reassuring her, my dear, I'm not questioning your skills. It's just that someone deliberately tampered with the data, and there was nothing anyone could do. You don't need to worry, I will handle this matter well. Rest assured, I will definitely let you know when I need your help. He still had faith in Jack's and Kingsley's skills. If they said it couldn't be restored, then it simply couldn't be restored. Marissa hummed a few times, her curiosity piqued. Perhaps there are other clues that you haven't discovered yet. We'll have to wait and see how their investigation progresses before deciding on the next steps. The base didn't suffer much damage, so there's no need to rush. Benjamin gently patted her head. Noticing that she had stayed up late because of this matter, he added, go ahead and sleep. I have things to take care of. Marissa shot him a sidelong glance. I can't sleep. Benjamin chuckled lightly, pinching her nose as he asked, shall I accompany you? Chapter 1543. Are you supposed to be busy? Marissa glanced at him, deliberately saying, even if you stay with me, I still won't be able to sleep. You can't sleep, but the little baby inside your belly needs to rest. Benjamin held her, his hands resting on her slightly protruding belly. Marissa was somewhat speechless. Sleep now. Benjamin climbed into bed, gently laying her down with him. His movements were gentle, careful not to startle her. Marissa fell onto him, shifted a little, and changed her position. Benjamin pulled over the blanket, covering them both, and held her as they took an afternoon nap. His chin gently brushed against her cheek. Upon seeing that he was truly intending to accompany her for her afternoon nap, Marissa didn't say anything more. She leaned into his embrace, allowing sleepiness to gradually take over. Before a moment of peace could settle, Benjamin's phone rang. He whispered an apology in her ear. "Sorry." Orissa glanced at him but didn't move. She continued to lie in his arms since he hadn't gotten up either. Benjamin pulled out his phone from his pocket and glanced at the incoming call. It was from the deputy CEO. He pressed the answer button. "Speak." Orissa pricked up her ears to listen to his phone call. From the other end, she could faintly hear the voice of the deputy CEO. "Mr. Graham, the temporary operations meeting will start at 1. Have you reviewed the topics I sent to your email?" "I have." "Proceed according to those topics." Benjamin had already reviewed them on his way back from dinner, and he had no objections. "Very well. We'll wait for you," the deputy CEO replied respectfully. "Off you go to the meeting." Orissa gave the man beside her a gentle push, speaking to him in a hushed tone. Many significant decisions within the company required Benjamin's approval. As the boss, his presence was indispensable, especially for impromptu meetings. Such meetings were undoubtedly arranged in response to important matters that had arisen. Benjamin put away his phone, his gaze falling on her. "Don't you want me to accompany you for your afternoon nap?" Orissa turned her gaze, her eyes sparkling. "With you here, I can't even sleep." "You should go now." "I'm going to sleep." She rolled over, pulling the blanket over her head, and promptly fell asleep. Benjamin chuckled lightly, gently pulling down the blanket a bit. He leaned over and planted a kiss on her face. "Don't sleep with your head under the blanket. You might not get enough oxygen. You're so annoying. Just go away." Orissa huffed, glaring at him. She turned around, burying her face into the pillow. Benjamin gave a faint smile before he rose to his feet, slipping on his shoes. He glanced at the woman on the bed. "I'm off to a meeting. Continue sleeping." Orissa was rendered speechless. Upon hearing the sound of footsteps, she squinted her eyes open, gazing at the man's handsome silhouette until Benjamin left the room. It was only at the moment he was about to close the door that she hastily shut her eyes again. The door gently closed. She opened her eyes again, her gaze darting around the room. After a few seconds, she sat up in bed and reached for the phone on the bedside table. She then called Kingsley on the phone. Perhaps due to poor signal, the line kept cutting in and out. Even when the ringing eventually ceased on its own, no one had answered. Orissa dialed again. This time, the call connected after a few rings, but she couldn't make out what was being said on the other end. The signal was too poor. Hi, me, Kingsley, can you hear me?" she asked. The sound that came from the other end was still completely unintelligible, and then there was complete silence. Is the signal really that bad? Orissa was puzzled for a moment, hung up the phone, and sent a text message to Kingsley again, thinking perhaps the message would get through. After waiting for over 10 minutes, there was still no reply. It seemed that for a while, they wouldn't be able to get in touch. She put down her phone and tried to sleep again, but sleep eluded her. She just lay there on the bed, lost in her own thoughts. After an indeterminate amount of time had passed, the sudden chime of a message notification from the mobile phone broke the silence. Orissa opened her eyes, her gaze shining brightly as she hastily reached for her phone. Kingsley wrote, "Orissa, the signal here is poor, making it difficult to send you the surveillance footage. Once we get out, I'll sort it out and send it to Benjamin's email." Chapter 1544. Orissa let out a sigh. "It seems impossible to access the surveillance from that side. I really want to see it since it's rare to encounter an elite." At that moment, Kingsley's signal was poor, but Benjamin didn't want her to worry. She had no choice but to put down her phone and take a nap. After a short nap, Orissa woke up easily when she heard the sound of children's voices coming from the doorway. Zachary opened the door and peeked inside. Their eyes met, and they locked gazes. "Mommy, are you awake?" Orissa yawned, her voice still carrying a hint of sleepiness. "Do you need something?" 6 little ones rushed in and settled by the edge of the bed, gazing at her with their soft and adorable demeanor. "Mommy, let's go out and play." Orissa smiled as she looked at them, leaning on her arm. She asked softly, where do you want to go to have fun? Let's go to the zoo, the botanical garden, the museum, the amusement park, the park, anywhere, really. Jasper's eyes sparkled as he listed the places, clearly not wanting to stay at home. Orissa found their excitement amusing and sat up. Once you've decided where to go, let me know. I'm going to freshen up. The little one's eyes sparkled with joy, and they exclaimed, "Ah, Mommy has agreed to take us out to play." Orissa patted Oliver's head, put on her slippers, and went to wash her face. The little ones began to discuss among themselves, whispering and murmuring, creating a lively scene. Let's go to the museum. It's quieter there, which is good for the baby in Mommy's belly. It'll be a good prenatal education, Zachary suggested, looking at his siblings. That sounds boring, don't you think? I believe going to the amusement park would be much more fun, lively, and exciting, Jasper argued. Oliver said, let's go to the botanical garden. This season is perfect for outdoor strolls. I want to go to the zoo to see the pandas. Jess's words immediately drew the attention of her older brothers. Gavin said, going to the zoo is a good idea. It has plants too, making it an even better place for relaxation. I also agree to go to the zoo. Timothy looked apologetically at Zachary, Oliver, and Jasper. Zachary, Oliver, and Jasper glanced at them. They were well aware of their tendency to be overprotective towards their younger sister. Both of you are overprotective brothers. Enough already. Your 3 votes have already surpassed our single vote. Jasper complained, shaking his head in exasperation. Whatever Jessie chooses, you guys just go along with it. Ah, Jessie giggled, her eyes squinting with joy. Her small mouth opened wide, revealing her newly sprouted teeth, an utterly adorable sight. Jasper pinched her cheek. Can you please stop smiling? Jessie pouted slightly and asked softly, why is that? Because when you smile, we simply can't resist. No acting cute, Jasper warned her. Gavin, Timothy, and Oliver looked at the adorable little girl and laughed with affectionate indulgence. So we're going to the zoo. We should prepare some masks. The zoo can be a bit smelly, and I'm worried it might bother Mommy. It's better to wear masks. Zachary reminded them. Let's hurry and look for them then. I wonder if we have enough masks. Oliver ran out first and returned to their room to look for masks. Get some hats too. Jessie followed them out. Gavin and the others exchanged glances, then hurriedly retreated to their own rooms to prepare their things. We need to prepare some food. Mommy will get hungry. And don't forget to bring water. After Orissa freshened up, she came out of the room to find it empty. She chuckled lightly and went to the wardrobe to select a long dress, which she promptly changed into. At that moment, Jess's adorable voice rang out. Mommy, we're going to the zoo. Wow, Mommy, you look so beautiful. Chapter 1545. Orissa met the bright eyes of the little girl, her smile radiant. Twirling her skirt, she spun around in front of her daughter. Do I really look beautiful? Jess's eyes were as captivating as crescent moons, and with a beaming smile, she complimented, Mommy, you are truly beautiful. Not only are you naturally gorgeous, but your outfit is also stunning. I'm sure you would charm a whole crowd of handsome men when you step out. Orissa was caught between laughter and tears. We can't let a certain someone hear this. She said, I already have your daddy. Why would I be captivating handsome guys? You little cheeky one, always trying to tease me. I'm certainly not teasing, Mommy. You are truly, truly beautiful, the most beautiful woman in the world. Jessie looked at her with sparkling eyes, a face full of admiration, unable to take her gaze away. Wow, Oliver's amazed voice echoed at the entrance. Following him were Gavin, Timothy, Zachary, and Jasper, who curiously squeezed in. The moment they saw Orissa, they all widened their eyes in awe, exclaiming in surprise. Mommy, you're so beautiful. Mommy is so beautiful. Orissa was somewhat embarrassed by their continuous compliments. Do you all have to be so exaggerated? It's not the first time you've seen me dressed like this. I've merely changed into a different dress. Mommy is the prettiest. Timothy's eyes squinted together in laughter. His admiration for Orissa was unparalleled. Orissa tapped his nose, glanced at his brothers, and asked, "Are you all ready?" "Mommy, we're ready," Gavin responded to her. Seeing that Arissa wasn't wearing a hat, he went to the cloakroom to fetch one for her while saying, "Mommy, you need to wear a hat. It's a bit sunny outside." "Mommy, we've got everything, water, bread. It's all in my bag." Jasper patted his precious bag, telling Arissa, "Mommy, if you're thirsty or hungry, just let me know." "Mommy, do you want to put on another coat? The wind outside is quite strong." Zachary reminded Arissa, "My coat is downstairs. I'll just grab it later." Arissa waited for Gavin to put on his hat before leading them downstairs. "Does your daddy know we're going out to play?" Arissa asked the children. The little ones were all dressed up and ready to go, their own sun hats perched on their heads, looking incredibly adorable. "I have no idea. Don't tell him. It's better if we just go." Zachary beckoned with a slight curl of his lips. He intended to hide it from Benjamin. With a smile, Arissa glanced at the little ones. "If we don't tell him, your daddy will worry about us." Zachary looked at Arissa and asked, "What if he refuses to let us go out and play?" Arissa chuckled, her eyes sparkling. "I'll go and tell him. I will definitely take you guys out to play." The little ones were delighted. Arissa let them get in the car first, and she headed toward the study to inform Benjamin. However, before she could reach the study, she saw a certain gentleman coming out. When Benjamin saw her dressed to go out, his eyes lit up. "Are you preparing to leave?" Arissa chuckled dryly a few times, stepping forward. Benjamin habitually pulled her into his embrace, his gaze falling on her beautiful face. Just like a peeled egg, her skin was flawless. Unable to resist the urge, Benjamin reached out and gently caressed her cheek. "The children want to bring me to the zoo," Arissa rephrased, smiling at Benjamin. "They are already waiting in the car. I just thought I'd let you know so you won't have to look for us." Benjamin arched an eyebrow, gently pinching her cheek. "Are you acting first and reporting later?" "What acting first and reporting later? It's not a big deal. Anyway, since you're busy and can't join us, just work at home. We're going out to have fun," Arissa said with a mischievous grin, ready to leave. Benjamin held her back, lowering his head until his forehead touched hers. "Who said I'm not going with you? Wait for me. I'm going to change my clothes." Arissa's eyes widened. "You're going too?" Benjamin released her, striding upstairs to change his clothes. Arissa was at a loss for words. Chapter 1546. Arissa departed and entered the car, causing the children to become excited. Oliver inquired, "Mommy, are we leaving now?" "Waiting for your daddy." Arissa glanced at them, indicating that they needed to wait for him. The 6 children stared at her in surprise. The young girl appeared visibly upset. "Is Mr. Graham also coming with us to the zoo?" Arissa playfully pinched the little girl's nose and laughed as she replied, "Yes, Daddy will come and play with us." Gavin slightly curled his lips and muttered under his breath, "I knew it. Either he wouldn't let us go out, or he had to come with us." Zachary also curled his lip, unsurprised. Arissa observed their disdainful expressions and didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Wouldn't Benjamin be heartbroken if he saw this? "Do you really not want Daddy to come along?" She amusingly watched the children. Other kids would love to have their dad play with them, but hers seemed to be rather picky. "He's not welcome. If he follows us, he'll just try to monopolize you, Mommy." Jessie clung to her arm, her small mouth pouting. Arissa chuckled lightly, gently stroking the little girl's hair. She soothingly coved, "He can't monopolize me. I will always be there with you. Mommy, you have to always be with us. Don't neglect us just because you have a husband now," the little girl said, sounding like a miniature adult, which made Arissa burst into laughter. She doted on the little girl, affectionately pinching her nose as she laughed. "Oh my, are you jealous of Daddy? You'll always be my sweetheart, my darling daughter. Then, when my younger siblings come out, will I still be your sweetheart?" Jess's eyes sparkled and were round as she looked at Arissa. She radiated a brilliant glow that made it impossible to look away. "Of course, you'll always be my sweetheart." Arissa hugged her little girl and gave her a kiss. She then turned to her other 5 sons and added, "You boys are also my most precious sons." Gavin, Timothy, Oliver, Jasper, and Zachary squinted their eyes with a smile. Thank you, Mommy. Mommy, if you say things like that, the little brother or sister in your belly will get jealous. Jasper teased her, glancing at her abdomen. Orissa smiled. They are also my sweethearts. All of you are. Mommy, let me braid your hair for you. Jess's little hands touched her long hair, and she couldn't help but play with it again. All right, then. Orissa settled down, holding her. Meanwhile, Benjamin hadn't come down yet, so she could let the little girl help her braid her hair. Orissa slightly shifted her position on the chair, allowing Jessie to move behind her, making it easier for the little girl to move around. Jessie often played with her hair, skillfully parting it. Her small hands acted like a comb, gently detangling her hair before she began to braid it. Mommy, does it hurt? She asked. It doesn't hurt. Orissa reassured the little girl, her gaze fixed on the doorway. Gavin, Timothy, Zachary, Oliver, and Jasper had nothing to do, so they sat by and watched the mother and daughter. Oliver asked, "Isn't Mr. Graham coming down yet?" Jasper chimed in, "Too slow in action. Points deducted." Timothy chuckled. "If you deduct any more, there's no way he'll pass." Gavin stated, "He had it coming." Zachary said, "Exactly. Tim, don't be deceived by his appearance. Although we've noticed that his utmost priority is his love for Mommy, he shouldn't neglect our matters." Orissa couldn't help but chuckle as she listened to the children's conversation. Benjamin appeared. The man had changed into a set of sportswear, his hair let down, looking considerably younger than usual. He was handsome and charming, much like a university student. Orissa's eyes flickered as she watched the man striding toward them. Her heartbeat seemed to match his footsteps, each thump landing sharply in her chest as her heart pounded. Benjamin walked up to the car door and noticed that all the seats inside had been taken by the kids, causing him to raise an eyebrow. Bending down to meet Orissa's gaze, he softly asked, "Where should I sit?" Chapter 1547. Please have a seat here. Jessie is braiding my hair. Orissa replied with a smile, reaching back to grab the unfinished braid. She turned to the little girl and said, "Sweetheart, move over a bit." Benjamin watched as the mother and daughter duo adjusted themselves, making space for him. Only when a seat became available did he slide into the car, casually closing the door behind him. Turning to Orissa, he asked, "Shall we leave now, or should we wait until you've finished braiding your hair?" "Let's go now," Orissa responded, then promptly instructed the driver, "Peter, start the car." "Understood. Mrs. Graham, Mr. Graham, kids, Miss Jessie, please take your seats." Peter reminded them before he started the car, pulling out of the Graham residence and heading towards the zoo. The little girl stood behind Orissa, continuing to braid her hair. Orissa sat slightly forward, sandwiching the little girl between herself and the chair, which was quite stable. The little girl was happily braiding away. Benjamin glanced at his daughter's focused expression, his lips curling up slightly. "Jessie," he said, "the braid you made for Mommy is quite good. Will you braid her hair often?" "Of course," the little girl responded proudly, not even lifting her head to glance at Benjamin as she continued to skillfully braid. After observing for a while, Benjamin noticed that Orissa hadn't finished braiding her hair on his side. He reached out and gently touched it. "I'll help you with this." He was about to start, but the little girl pushed him away. "I don't need your help. I'll have it ready for Mommy in no time. You're not allowed to take over." The light girl widened her eyes, staring at Benjamin. Her expression was quite domineering. Benjamin raised an eyebrow, gently coaxing, "All right. I won't compete with you. Take your time braiding. Don't hurt your Mommy. HMPH. I would never be so careless as to hurt Mommy. You shouldn't even be talking to me, really," the little girl retorted. Orissa couldn't help but laugh. The little girl was quite domineering when she wanted to be and truly hard to please. Gavin, Timothy, Zachary, Oliver, and Jasper were off to the side, watching the scene unfold. Jessie had finished braiding one side of Orissa's hair, securing it tightly with a hairpin before moving on to the other braid. "Mommy, you look really beautiful like this," Jasper said, his eyes twinkling with delight as he gazed at Arissa, not even blinking. Arissa glanced at the little ones. I used to have my hair done like this too. Mommy, it's been such a long time since we've seen you like this. I don't think Gavin and Tim have ever seen it. Oliver chuckled as he reminded her, after returning to our country, Mommy always sports a neat and tidy hairstyle. She looks every bit the powerful woman she is. Mommy, you look so much younger like this. You could easily be mistaken for my sister when we're together. Gavin was also captivated as he looked at Arissa. He and Tim had truly never seen Arissa dressed up like this before. Absolutely. Mommy is beautiful and young. Timothy nodded in agreement, his face full of joy. Arissa was also filled with joy. Being praised by her son certainly lifted her spirits. She was so happy. Benjamin admired her transformation, then turned his head to look at Arissa, his gaze intense. You are very captivating. As Arissa met the man's eyes, which were filled with a deep, hidden smile, a blush began to creep up on her cheeks. She flashed a shy smile and joked, "Don't I look like a country girl? Then, you'll be the most beautiful country girl in the world." Benjamin laughed, but it wasn't a mocking tone. Instead, it was a sincere compliment. Arissa also chuckled. He actually praised Mommy. Isn't he sweet? Zachary teased Benjamin, always eager to challenge his father. Benjamin furrowed his brows slightly as he looked at the little one. So, should I not praise your mommy? Would that give you another reason to deduct points from me? Zachary slightly pursed his lips. Benjamin glanced at the other youngsters. Did my performance just now earn me any points? The 5 little ones stared at him, somewhat speechless. If you had stayed quiet, we might have given you extra points. But you spoke up, indicating that you were praising Mommy with an ulterior motive. You're lucky we're not deducting points, let alone thinking about giving you extra. Gavin chuckled, showing no respect for Benjamin. Arissa giggled as she watched the man's handsome face fall. It seemed that passing the test was going to be a challenge for him. Chapter 1548. Benjamin narrowed his sharp eyes, focusing on Arissa's expression of schadenfreude. He reached out and playfully pinched her cheek. Arissa glared at him, feeling embarrassed and annoyed. He had actually pinched her. She deliberately said to the children, "My sweethearts, deduct points from him." He just pinched me. Mommy, how many points should I deduct? Oliver asked, pulling out the financial ledger he always carried with him. With a troubled expression, Benjamin hurriedly tried to appease Arissa. Can you please take back the points you deducted? Please, no more deductions. When will I ever pass if you keep doing this? His score was currently in the negatives, let alone passing. It was even difficult for it to become positive. Arissa's eyes sparkled like a shimmering pool, radiating a mischievous light. She looked at him and said, "You seem to enjoy pinching me just now, didn't you? But you've forgotten. Stop punishing me, honey. I was wrong. I shouldn't have pinched you. I'll let you pinch me back." With that, Benjamin brought his handsome face closer, almost about to kiss her. His breath sprayed across her face, filled with a strong mix of pheromones. Arissa pushed him away. "Aren't you condemning me anymore?" Benjamin cautiously asked her. The man who once commanded respect in the business world was now humbly submitting himself before her. Upon seeing his demeanor, Arissa couldn't help but laugh. "Considering your apology, I won't deduct the points." Oliver curled his lip and teased Arissa, "Mommy, aren't you being too lenient?" Arissa glanced at the little one and chuckled. "Whether points are deducted or not, it's all the same. Thank you, honey." Benjamin reached out and gently took Arissa's hand, holding it delicately. Arissa looked at him, meeting the man's eyes that were filled with a deep, playful smile. She returned the smile and said, "You're welcome. Keep it up, Mr. Graham." Meeting her teasing gaze, Benjamin coughed awkwardly. "I'm striving to improve." Arissa chuckled and turned her gaze toward the children. The little ones were eagerly watching them. When they noticed her looking, they quickly turned their heads, pretending to admire the scenery outside the window, and even started chatting among themselves. Jasper said, "Gavin, do you know where this is? There are so many young ladies here." Gavin responded, "I don't know. I've never been here before." Arissa was speechless. At this moment, the little girl, who was leaning on her shoulder, bent down to tell her, "Mommy, I've braided your hair for you." Orissa turned around to look at the little girl, meeting her daughter's sweet face, her eyes curved in a smile. She reached back, pulled the light girl into her arms, and gave her a few kisses. "You're amazing, sweetheart. Thank you, Jessie." Teehee. Jessie couldn't stop giggling as she was kissed. "Mommy, that tickles." Orissa continued to playfully nudge the little girl, causing her to burst into fits of laughter. After a while, she helped the little girl sit properly. "Mommy, look, did I braid them well?" Jessie held up her two braids with her little hands, her eyes sparkling, her face full of anticipation for praise. Orissa lowered her gaze, a smile tugging at the corners of her mouth. "Beautiful," she said, "the braids you've made are even more beautiful than mine." Orissa hugged the little girl and kissed her chubby cheeks. "Jessie, have you lost weight recently?" Jessie blinked. "Not at all." Gavin, Zachary, Timothy, Oliver, and Jasper, the 5 brothers, immediately turned their attention. Jasper said, "Mommy, I also think she has lost weight, but she wouldn't believe me when I told her." Orissa glanced at her sons, then lowered her gaze to the little girl in her arms, pinching her nose. "Sweetheart, have you not been eating properly at school?" "Mommy, Jessie is being picky with her food," Zachary said to Orissa, noticing that his little sister had indeed lost some weight recently. Orissa stared at Jessie, and the little girl felt embarrassed and pouted. "I'm used to the meals prepared by our housekeeper. The food at school just isn't as good." Benjamin looked at his daughter, speaking softly. "Why didn't you mention this before? Tomorrow, I'll have Mr. Whitley go to your school and prepare food for all of you." Chapter 1549. Stop spoiling her. You even have Edwin follow her to school to make her meals. What will she do when she goes to study elsewhere? Will she take Edwin with her? Orissa contradicted Benjamin, disagreeing with his actions and asserting that the light girl's picky eating habits needed to be corrected. Jessie is studying in Delmore. There's no need for her to go elsewhere. Benjamin didn't want his daughter to go hungry, so bringing along their family's chef was not a difficult task. Orissa glanced at Benjamin, reminding him, "It's true that she's currently studying in Delmore, but what about when she grows up and when she goes abroad to study? Are you planning to have Edwin follow her there? By then, Edwin will be quite old. Do you really want to burden him like that? Anyway, I don't agree with Edwin preparing food for her to take to school." Orissa glanced at the children, especially the little girl. "From now on, I will prepare delicious food in the morning for you to take to school." Jessie was elated, her eyes shining brighter than ever. After a while, she remembered that Orissa, being pregnant, was not allowed in the kitchen. "Mommy, I thought you couldn't cook." "We don't need to bring any. I'd rather eat the school's meals." Her voice gradually faded as she continued speaking. Orissa stared at the little girl, pinching her nose gently. "Sweetheart, people in the past didn't have lives as good as we do now. They were happy just to have food to eat, let alone the luxury of being picky about their meals. If they knew you were living in this era, they would be filled with envy." Jessie knew that Orissa had lived a hard life in the past. With her short arms wrapped around Orissa's neck, she realized that her behavior had been wrong. "Don't even mention the old days. Even great-grandaunt and Tim had to work in the countryside just to have something to eat, and they still couldn't get enough. We're eating things that many village children don't even have the chance to taste. Do you think it's right for you to be picky with your food?" Orissa was advising the little girl, providing her with examples, in the hope that she would be able to change these habits in the future. Jessie bit her lip, sneaking a glance at Timothy. Meeting her brother's gaze, she bashfully buried her face in Orissa's shoulder, truly realizing her mistake. "Mommy, I realize my mistake. I won't be picky with food anymore. This is what a good child is." Orissa ruffled her hair, praising her with a sense of relief. Benjamin glanced at the mother and daughter, admiring Orissa quite a bit. She had managed to solve the little girl's picky eating problem so quickly. "Mommy, I won't be picky with food anymore." Gavin felt a bit embarrassed when he thought about how Tim had really suffered in the countryside and how he himself used to be quite finicky about food in the past. "Mommy, If there's something delicious, I'll always share it with Tim. Zachary promised her. Oliver, along with Jasper, said to Timothy, Tim, from now on, we will feed you lots of delicious food. No need, my stomach is only so big, I can't eat too much. Besides, I can eat whatever you guys are eating. You've already shared so much with me. If you give me any more, I'll gain weight quickly. Timothy thanked his brothers, feeling overjoyed deep down. Let yourself gain some weight. Only then will mommy stop worrying about you. Zachary gently stroked Timothy's cheek, noticing he had gotten a bit plumper. Thinking back to the time when he had just found Tim, he was so thin that he was unrecognizable. From the bottom of his heart, Zachary decided to treat Tim even better from then on. Orissa watched their brotherly respect and deference with immense satisfaction. As long as you don't fuss over your food, I will be at ease. If you want to feed Tim, you must consider whether he likes it or not. You can't force him to eat more of what he doesn't like, Mommy. They didn't force me. They gave me everything I liked. Timothy quickly defended his brothers, not wanting their mother to misunderstand. Orissa lovingly patted the little one's head, smiling as she said, I know, as long as you guys are happy, that's all that matters. Jessie, come sit over here with me. Don't sit on your mommy's lap. You're squishing her. Benjamin gently stroked the little girl's hair, calling her over. The little girl turned her head away and hummed, clinging to Orissa for a while before she finally crawled over to sit with her brothers. Orissa looked at her daughter's demeanor, then at Benjamin's helpless expression, and couldn't help but laugh. Why does Jessie seem to dislike Benjamin so much? Chapter 1550. Upon arriving at the zoo, the 6 children couldn't contain their excitement and were the first to exit the car. Although Zachary had been hesitant about coming here before, in this moment, he couldn't help but express his love for animals. Jasper glanced at his brothers. Let's go see the baby pandas. Alright, I absolutely adore baby pandas. Jess's mouth stretched into a wide grin, her eyes squinting with delight. Benjamin assisted Orissa out of the car. The bodyguard had already prepared the wheelchair and set it aside. Sit in the wheelchair, I'll push you. Okay. Orissa nodded, settling into the wheelchair with Benjamin's help. Go buy the tickets quickly. The children are already lining up over there. The little ones had left them behind, rushing off to join the line at the ticket window. Fortunately, it wasn't a weekend, so the queue wasn't too long. Go and buy the tickets. Benjamin instructed, guarding her as he directly ordered the bodyguards to keep an eye on the children. Orissa looked up at him, somewhat speechless, and let out a sigh. Doesn't this man know how to behave in front of the children? Meeting her gaze, Benjamin raised an eyebrow in question, asking, what's wrong? Benjamin, you need to spend more time with the children. Only then will they grow closer to you. Since we've brought them out to play, you surely want to deepen your bond with them. Although buying tickets is a minor matter, a bodyguard can never replace your position as their father. The feeling of you accompanying them in the ticket line is completely different from a bodyguard doing so. Orissa had no choice but to give him a nudge, still hoping that Benjamin would get closer to the children to fill the void in their hearts where their father should have been. She spoke so clearly that Benjamin understood. He ruffled her hair. Then let me push you over there, and we'll line up together. Orissa chuckled, expressing no objections. After all, she was confined to a wheelchair, so it made no difference where she was. Benjamin gently guided her toward the children. Seeing this, the bodyguard tactfully moved behind them, allowing Benjamin to get even closer to the little ones. The 6 children glanced at Benjamin, then at Orissa. Zachary said to Orissa, Mommy, you don't need to stand in line. We can just buy the tickets. Orissa's eyes curved into a smile as she said to her son, I've promised to take you out to play, so of course, I will be the one to pay for all of you. The children's eyes sparkled with excitement. All Mommy has to do is give money later. Orissa chuckled. Children are indeed pragmatic, not even willing to touch their own little treasure troves. I'll pay. Benjamin glanced at his children. As the head of the family, how could he possibly let his wife and children pay? You pay, then, Orissa said with a beaming smile, gladly giving up her spot. She certainly wasn't going to insist on doing it herself. Benjamin looked at her. Since I brought you out, it's only natural that I cover the expenses. He then turned to the children and said, whatever you want to eat, let's buy it all. There was a small supermarket at the entrance, stocked with everything from water to snacks. We brought some from home. There's no need to buy. Oliver patted the backpack on Jasper's back, proudly saying, the snacks at home were all prepared by Edwin. They even had a wider variety than the local supermarket. Benjamin glanced at the bulging backpack of the little one, somewhat surprised. He hadn't expected them to have prepared in advance. You even brought water. Yes, indeed. Jasper's eyes sparkled as she looked at Benjamin. He even took off the shoulder strap to show him. This is mine, hee. A twitch played at the corner of Benjamin's mouth, and then he saw Timothy also opening his own backpack. Mr. Graham, our water bottles are here. Benjamin glanced over. All 6 water bottles were inside the backpack. Isn't it heavy? Timothy chuckled heartily. I can carry it, sweetheart. Take out your water bottle. Everyone should carry their own. It makes drinking water more convenient, and you won't have to carry so much weight, Arissa said, her heart aching for Tim. She insisted that they each hold their own water bottles.